Now together, if you'd like to join me in saying just a quick reminder of our Bible memory verse for this week. It is love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Now, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about It's Good to Be Me. What it's like to be you. Now in our life we have loads of different goals, whether it's to read for the first time, to write for the first time, to kick a ball for the first time, to win our first trophy, to get our first golden award or our WOW certificate from our teachers, our WOW badges. It might be becoming a UNICEF ambassador. It might be going to college. We have goals and dreams that we would like to achieve. Now I'm going to show you some pictures, and I wonder whether or not you might be able to recognise the person in these pictures. Now this person was born many years ago, and there he is with his mum in hospital, born. And for that person, that mother there, her goal, she started a family. You know, she'd achieved something. She just started her first family, had her first child. And that child got a little bit bigger, and he started to crawl. So he'd achieved crawling. He'd strived, and he'd achieved a goal. And then he started to smile more, and he was able to show his expression. So again, he's achieving something. And if we zoom forward a few more years, he caught a really big fish. So he'd been fishing with his dad, and he caught something called a catfish. And that catfish there was 51 pounds. I wonder if you can recognise who that person might be. And that person went to university, and he strived to achieve getting a certificate that would tell him that he could be or apply for jobs to be a teacher. And that person took his degree out into Africa, and he helped build a school with some children, and eventually, very luckily, he was able to use the certificate and his experiences to land a job. And over the years he's worked at these schools, and eventually he now ended up working, yep, that's right, that's me, at Bourne Elsie Park. Now Mr. Revel, as I told you my name earlier on, he's had many dreams and many goals in his life, and actually it was really nice for me to achieve my dreams and my goals, which is to work in an amazing trust with amazing teachers at amazing schools with absolutely amazing children just like you. Now that's enough about me and pictures of me, but let's have a look at a few pictures of people that you may also recognise, more famous figures than Mr. Revel. Now, looking at these pictures, these images, these are three very famous sports people. Now, I've actually removed the letters from their names. You've only got the first letter from each of their names. Have a look on the board now on the screen. I wonder if you can recognise any of those athletes. Can you spot who they are? I'll give you a few seconds. You might want to turn to your partner. You might want to turn to your parent at home. Who are they? Now, hopefully you have recognised one of them, or all three of them, or some of them even. Now on the left we have Lionel Messi, a famous Argentinian footballer. Now that footballer would have had lots of goals. He would have had lots of dreams to achieve, becoming a professional footballer, becoming an athlete, being able to play for Barcelona. Now that person would have come across obstacles along the way as well. They would have found struggles. They would have found times of hardship, times that have been harder than others. And they would have had to persevere. They'd have had to show a lot of courage to achieve their goals. Now we look at this gentleman here. This gentleman is an athlete again. He runs very fast, and his name is Usain Bolt. That's right, Usain Bolt. Now Usain Bolt, just like Lionel Messi, would have had lots of dreams, and he's achieved loads of those dreams by being able to accomplish what he has done today. However, again, he would have found times of hardship, times that were harder than others, and he'd have had to show lots of courage and persevere. And then we're looking here at this lady Obviously, she's got a tennis racket and a tennis ball, which tells you that she is a tennis player. And her name is Serena Williams, okay? And again, the same for Serena. She'd have had goals. She would have strived to achieve her goals. And she would have also had times where she found it harder than others. And to achieve her goals, she would have had to stay dedicated and motivated and being able to persist and persevere in order to get to the point in her career that she is now. Now, to persevere, or words such as persevered or persevering or perseverance, all words that you would have heard around our schools and in the classroom with your teachers. To persevere is to persist in something. So even when there's obstacles or things that are knocking you back, it's to keep on going, showing that strength, that perseverance. Now, I've got a lovely little Bible verse at the top of the page that you might be able to see, and that is from Isaiah chapter 40, verses 28 to 29. And it goes like this. The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired and weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. And sometimes we need that. We need that little bit of help to be able to persevere and to persist in something that might be difficult. Now I'm going to tell you a story all about a boy called Sammy. Now Sammy has something very difficult to achieve. A long time ago, in a village at the bottom of a mountain, Sammy lived with his mother and baby sister. When Sammy was little, his father had been taken away to fight in someone else's war across the mountains. Sammy's mother spoke of his father often. "He is the bravest and strongest and most hard-working man in the village," she said. "I'll never be like my father," said Sammy. Sammy did not feel brave or strong. He certainly did not work hard. "You'll never be like your father," his mother said to him when he ran off and made mischief instead of helping on the farm. Sammy's mother worked hard to feed the family's prized possession, the red tractor. It was an old tractor. It was always breaking down, but she always got it going again. Without it, they would have to leave the farm. One day, Sammy's mother got on the tractor so she could start harvesting the corn, and there was a terrible crunch. The tractor shuddered, and Sammy's mother was thrown off the seat onto the hard earth, and a leg twisted beneath her. Sammy could see she was in pain, but still she got to her feet and looked at the tractor. "It's no good," she said. "I can't mend it. The tractor needs a new carburettor." A carburettor is a mechanism inside the tractor that helps it move. "I'll have to go to the village over the mountain to buy a new one," she said. She started to walk down the path, but after 2 steps her leg gave way and she fell to the ground in tears. "It's no good," she said. "I can't get to the end of the path. I'll never be able to go over the mountain. We'll miss the harvest and the crops will be ruined." Sammy looked up at the mountain, towering above him. His mouth was dry and his heart was pounding. His legs became suddenly weak and like jelly, and he felt as if he had a big hard knot turning up inside his belly. "I will go," Sammy said. He knew he had to help. It was the family's only chance. Without a new carburettor, there would be no food for the winter. The next day, Sammy kissed his mother goodbye and set off. His mother waved and smiled weakly. Sammy's legs still trembled, and he felt a big hard knot still churning up inside him. That day he walked and walked and walked, further than he'd ever walked in his whole entire life. The land became steeper, and the sun grew hotter, and he stopped for a rest under the shade of a stunted tree and ate and drank a little. Then he looked up at the mountain above and saw there was still such a long way to go. He sighed and dropped his head in his hands. "I can't go on," he said. "I can't do it. I just can't do it." Then the strangest thing happened. From somewhere he heard a faint voice, which seemed to be speaking to him over and over again. "Keep going, Sammy. Keep going. Keep going, Sammy." Sammy heard the voice, but he did not know where it was coming from. Was it from outside, or was it from inside? "Keep going, Sammy. Keep going," the voice said. Somehow the voice gave him courage in his heart and strength in his legs. He remembered that more than anything in the world they needed the carburettor. "I will keep going," he said to himself, and he strode up the mountain. When it began to grow dark, Sammy knew that he would have to rest for the night. He didn't like the dark, and there, on the mountain, the dark was darker than he had ever known it. He built a fire, but in spite of the bright flames, he began to shiver. He didn't know if he was shivering because he was cold or because he was scared. Sometimes I do that. Have you ever done that? If you're scared or you're cold, do you shiver as well? All he knew was that he wanted to go home. He wanted to leave the horrible mountain and run back home and be safe and warm again. I can't go on, he said to himself again. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Then from somewhere he heard that faint voice which seemed to be speaking to him. You can do it, Sammy. You can do it. You can do it. Sammy heard the voice, but he didn't know where it was coming from. Was it coming from outside or was it coming from inside of him? You can do it, Sammy. You can do it, he heard the voice again. With the words in his ears, somehow Sammy felt less afraid. I can do it, he said to himself as he fell fast asleep. Sammy woke with the sun and was amazed to see that he was nearly at the top of the mountain. He struggled and climbed and struggled until at last he was standing on the very top of the mountain. Below him, in the distance, he could just see the village he was heading to. But it was so very far away that his heart failed him. For a moment he forgot about his family and the tractor and everything. It's no good, he said to himself again. I just can't do it. Then he heard from somewhere that faint voice, which seemed to be speaking to him every time he got to a moment of struggle. You can do it, Sammy. You can do it. You can do it. Sammy heard the voice, but again he questioned, where was it coming from? Was it coming from outside or was it coming from inside? Sammy took a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath together and say, I can do it. I can do it, Sammy said. He said out loud, and I will. And he set off to the village below. When at last Sammy reached the village on the other side of the mountain, he went to the shop and he bought that tractor part. Now you can see Sammy with his tractor part. It was a very long way back, just as long as the way there, but whenever he was tired or scared or fed up, Sammy said to himself, I will keep going. I can do it. I will do it. The nearer he got to his village and his home, the quicker he seemed to travel. When he was nearly there, the villagers came out to greet him, and he ran straight to his home and to find his mother and climb the mountain, Mum. I climbed the mountain. I got the carburettor, Mum. His mother smiled at him. I knew you would, she said. After all, Sammy, you are just like your father. Now, Sammy had to really persevere. He showed great perseverance and courage in this story to get that part for the tractor. Now in our lives, sometimes we need to show that perseverance, especially at this moment in time in the world in which we live. However, sometimes that little thing inside of us isn't always telling us the positives. Sometimes it's popping us against this little wall of excuses. There's excuse after excuse not to achieve what we're striving for. Our excuses might be, oh, well, I'll do it once I've tidied up, Mum. Or I can do it next week, Mr. Revel. Or to your brother, you might say that, oh, I'll play with you after this TV programme. Or I'll do it tomorrow. Or when I'm ready. Or after this game. And what you're doing is you're putting back your goal. And sometimes you just need that little bit of motivation, that little bit of courage or perseverance to be able to achieve your goal. And when you find you're up against that excuse wall, those obstacles not to achieve your goal, you need to find a ladder and you need to be able to get over that wall. You need to be able to get over those obstacles. Now, I want to remind you of two different animals that might be able to help you get over these obstacles. Now, firstly, I'm going to talk to you about being like a giraffe. You've probably never heard that before, but a giraffe has a really big heart. And sometimes when we get those challenges in our lives and those obstacles in our way, we need to show that we are brave. We need to show courage. We need to show bravery. And a giraffe has a big heart. So be like a giraffe. And number 2, a giraffe has a really long neck. Longer than mine, longer than yours, probably longer than all of ours put together. But they have a really huge neck and they stick their necks out proudly. And we have to risk making mistakes sometimes. We have to challenge ourselves to be able to achieve that goal. And by achieving that goal, sometimes we make mistakes. But school is a very safe place to make mistakes because it is the best place to learn. And then finally, I've got over here our geese. Now, Mrs. Moore has told you some very, very lovely and important lessons about the geese. But the geese are very helpful to us. Sometimes we can be that front runner right at the front there, leading the way, showing how strong we are with our bravery, showing our perseverance and courage. But sometimes we need the other geese behind us to help us. And it's okay to be struggling. It's okay to find it hard to persevere and persist. But sometimes you just need to look to your friend to the left or look to your friend to the right and ask them for that little bit of help. Because sometimes in life we need that. And that is okay. It's okay to struggle, but we always want to keep our dreams, to strive towards our goals. Now, I would like you to reflect. I would like you to think really hard about what you want to achieve. What you want to achieve today, what you want to achieve tomorrow, and what you want to achieve in the future, and what you will need to do to achieve it. Thomas Jefferson said, "Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude." At the end of today's assembly, I would like you to write your reflection in the comments below so that your teacher can see them. Now, thank you for joining in with our collective worship today, whether it be in school or at home. Now we're going to finish our collective worship with a prayer. And if you'd like to make it your prayer, please say Amen at the end. Dear Lord, thank you for making us special. Thank you for making us unique. Thank you for allowing us to have dreams and goals. And thank you for allowing us to persevere in times of difficulty and hardship. We thank you for allowing our friends to have goals and dreams and to be able to persevere and work with others in a team to achieve their goals. Amen. I'm just going to leave you with a song to finish the day. Now this song hopefully will give you a little bit of motivation and determination should you come across any obstacles or any difficulties throughout your day, throughout your week, and it may be a song that you've heard before. I hope you have a lovely day.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. That we have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, we will rise, we will rise, oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Jesus is the light of the world. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mr. Revel, and I am leading today's collective worship. And our assembly today is all about "It's Good to Be Me," which it is.